Hey guys, and welcome into another 7-round mock draft here on the channel. Today we're going to be going into the second round again, and we're going to be taking another team, and that's the newly branded, I guess you would say, LA Rams. The Rams have an interesting thing. They just struck a trade yesterday, sending Brandon Cooks over to the Texans for that second round pick. It's pick 57, I believe. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that was the one that they got in the trade with the Cardinals. I may be wrong on that one though. But definitely a weird one. So they basically got rid of Hopkins and then just flipped him for. They basically got Brandon Cooks and David Johnson for DeAndre Hopkins, which is a weird trade for me. But the Rams are in a weird position too. They've lost a lot of players. Littleton went to a different team as well. I think went to the Raiders. So they're in a weird spot. Gurley's gone. Now Cooks is gone. They're in like that weird middle stage where you don't know if they're going to rebuild. You don't know if they're going to try and contend. But with the Cardinals and 49ers in the division, it might be time to get younger, and they're looking to do that with their draft picks here. They don't have a pick until the second round, but you already see on the screen who they're taking in the second round, and we'll get right into that. So at pick 52, I am selecting wide receiver KJ Hamler out of Penn State. Now, the receiver class is absolutely stacked for this draft. I have a lot of guys that could be going here. There was a couple guys I liked a lot more than Hamler that couldn't fall to him. But honestly, when it came down to who was still left on the board, it was between him, Chanel, and somebody else. I can't think of off the top of my head, but I think KJ Hamler is going to absolutely tear up this offense right away at the start. So when you look at him, he's 5'9", 178. He wasn't able to run the 40-yard dash at the combine. He put up 15 bench presses. He's from IMG Academy in high school, and then went to Penn State and absolutely tore it up for them. In his 2 seasons there, he played his freshman year and then his junior year as well. He had 1,600 yards, almost 1,700 yards, 16.9 yards on average per catch on 98 catches, 13 touchdowns. He also had 17 rushing attempts for 87 yards and a touchdown as well. So an absolute monster, an absolute weapon on that side. His lack of production, only 2 years playing on Penn State, kind of sucks. He's been kind of dealing with injuries a little bit throughout his high school and college career, but I think that he is going to be an absolute monster, especially on a team like the LA Rams. When you look at what he can do, he's drawing comparisons to Tavon Austin, and this is what the Rams drafted Tavon Austin to be. I think they can get that out of KJ Hamler. He is able to get in the slot and stretch the field. So it's pretty much a younger Brandon Cooks replacement there, what you're getting out of him. He's able to shake the press. He's able to be very athletic. He can run a sub 4.4. Obviously, he wasn't able to run it at the combine, but he has that. He has that deep speed to separate and never let them catch up. And his route running is actually very solid. It could get a little bit better, but his athleticism is going to make it polished at the NFL level. And, of course, he can run after the catch. So this is an absolute weapon on the offensive side. Having him with Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods is going to be really fun for Jared Goff. Some things that kind of stink is that his small frame is going to hurt him with durability. We've already seen it, like I said, through high school. He had an ACL tear in his senior year. And you look at what he did at college as well, missing the whole sophomore season. But you definitely can get a lot out of him. But it's a lot of that injury concerns just because of his small body frame. I think that he also could learn to get around traffic a little bit more. When he gets kind of caught up, he's not really able to miss all the tackles, miss the whole piles that you see on defense, of the traffic that you see. I kind of want my slot guys to be able to get through that because I'm going to ask them to use a lot of those short routes, do those route running like slants and drags across the field to get really quick open. So he definitely could work on that. But other than that, this guy's an explosive, big playability guy. If he falls down to the Rams here at 52, they should be overjoyed to take him. Replace Brandon Cooks right away with a young version of himself and have yourself a solid core. Keep Josh Reynolds as that wide receiver 4, and I think that offense is going to stay as explosive as it was last year. Then we go over to pick 57. I am selecting J.K. Dobbins out of Ohio State. J.K. Dobbins is he's going to be a household name within a few years, in my opinion. And with Todd Gurley leaving, this was a huge hole to fill. I wanted them to be able to get one of the best running backs in maybe Jonathan Taylor or DeAndre Swift, because those are my top 2 backs. But J.K. Dobbins is not that far behind them. DeAndre Swift obviously couldn't fall to them at 52, so I figured wide receiver KJ Hamler would be the best pick, and then go after the best available running back, which happened to be J.K. Dobbins. Another guy, 5'9", this time 209 though. Didn't run the 40 as well, but did put up 23 reps on the bench press. What he did at Ohio State was nothing short of incredible. Each season over 1,000 yards. His freshman year, he put up 1,400 yards on the ground. His sophomore year, over 1,000 yards, 1,053. And then this last season, 2,000 yards on the ground. In those 3 seasons, 38 touchdowns on 725 carries. He also added 71 catches for 645 yards and 5 touchdowns in the air. An absolute monster, an absolute production machine from Ohio State. And we know how Ohio State running backs usually turn out to be in the NFL. They look very good, even if their time frame isn't as longevity as you wish it would. I mean, you guys got guys like Ezekiel Elliott coming out, Eddie George. I mean, these are some of the best running backs that we've ever seen come out of Ohio State. And I would love to see J.K. Dobbins be one of those guys, but we could throw into that list. He's got a very big build for his small frame, for being 5'9", a little bit over 200 pounds. He's very chiseled out. He's very muscular, especially in his upper body frame, which is good. When he was in the big games, he did not disappoint. I mean, when you look at what he did in the college playoffs, obviously they couldn't make it past Clemson, but just an absolute show for them to put on there. He's able to beat defenses. He's able to kind of have that bell cow volume, which I would really love. He runs low. He can pop defenders. He can juke them out if he needs to. He's able to catch screens. He'll be able to run and block as well, which is what you need a lot of running backs to do nowadays. He's able to go hit the gap and pop whoever's trying to blitz through it. This is an all-around back if you've ever seen one. Some things that I think he could work on, or some weaknesses for him, is he did have a lot of production at Ohio State, so there might be some tread on those tires. His running style was a little bit tight. He kind of could loosen it up a little bit. Marshawn Lynch is one of the loosest running backs we've ever seen, and he had such a great and historic career because of that, and he was able to break a lot of tackles. His speed change isn't really there. He kind of stuck on the same speed mode for every play. If he was able to change his speed, change his direction a little bit better, I think that would help him out a lot more. And on top of that, I think that he could be more explosive when he gets the ball, just kind of getting it and hitting the hole as quick as possible, not really waiting to use that speed until he gets an open look. If he's able to hit the hole hard, I think he'll have a lot more pop, be able to gain a lot more run after contact as well. And also, he's more going to be a popping back. He's not really going to be somebody that's going to make you miss in open tackles. He will make people miss on occasion, but he's not going to be a Shady McCoy type of running back. He's going to be more towards a power style running back, which is what they had in Todd Gurley. And I think that J.K. Dobbins is going to fit in perfectly into this offense, probably be a starter day one. I know you have Malcolm Brown. I know you drafted Darrell Henderson last year, but Darrell Henderson couldn't even get the backup job behind Gurley last year. You hope he produces well, but when you have a guy like J.K. Dobbins on the board here, who would be a first rounder in a lot of drafts if this draft class wasn't so absolutely stacked, I think you take him here and make him your starting running back, and you run away with it. At pick 84, I'm selecting edge rusher Bradlee Anae out of Utah. This is a guy who I've been looking at a lot lately. Still kind of figuring out what he can do, but I'm a big fan of him. He's 6'3", 265 out of Utah. He's been there for 4 years, played for pretty much 3. He had 83 solo tackles for a total of 131 in his career. 40 tackles for loss, back-to-back seasons with 14, and this season he had 13 sacks, capping him off at 29.5 for his career at Utah. Absolute production from Bradlee Anae on the outside. I think that he has the tools to set up to be a solid edge rusher, especially when you look at what the Rams have. Obviously, Clay Matthews isn't there anymore, and they definitely could use some work. They did get, Leonard Floyd from the Bears, which was good, but anytime you can, no GM is going to say they have enough edge rushers. I think you could always get help on the edge. Aaron Donald's a complete weapon. He's able to be used wherever you want him on that line. Why not get a guy like Bradlee Anae and help him become one of the better edge rushers that you have in your offense? He got a 4.93 at the combine with 25 reps on the bench press. Some things I really like about his game is he's able to get to the point of attack. He's quick off the ball. He can play with his hand on the ground in a 3-point stance. He can be in a 2-point stance, whatever you need him to do. He's able to get around tight ends so easily. They're not even a factor to him if a tight end tries to block him. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit different in the NFL. We have some big tight ends in the league, but he is somebody that definitely can get around them very well. He's got long arms, so he's able to stab and punch to get a tackle. And he's able to pursue. That's a lot of times edge rushers are so solid, but a lot of them can't pursue too well, and that's why they kind of transition more into a 3-4 role as a D end instead of an edge rusher. Anae is not like that. He's able to pursue If a running back gets around the edge, he's able to take an angle and go get them, and that's what I really like about his game, and that's what kind of intrigues me, especially at pick 84 for them to find him. A lot of people might have him going a little bit earlier. He was unfortunately falling down just based on different team needs, but for him to be here at 84 is absolutely huge for them. So things I think he could work on is he needs to be more consistent with his play. There's a lot of times where he absolutely destroys the run, but there's other times where it looks like he's not even trying, which kind of sucks. On top of that, I think that as much as I like his pursuit, he's got to be able to be consistent with that as well. Consistency is going to be a huge key for here, as well as learning more fundamentals on the line and being able to add more to your arsenal. He can learn to spin a little bit better. His swim move can use improvement. He could dip and bend a lot better as well. So things you'll definitely learn at the NFL level, but I think he could be learning and adding to his arsenal. This is a guy who within the first 2 seasons can be a great starter. I see him being a rotational guy probably year 1, and you see what you get in your next year with him, and he could probably turn out to be a solid starter for the near future. Moving on over to pick 104, I have one of the most interesting guys in the draft here, in offensive tackle Ben Bartch out of St. John's. This guy, if you didn't see his video at the Combine, he made an insane smoothie, which was kind of fun to watch. Go check that out. If you could just look it up, Ben Bartch Combine smoothie, and it'll pop up. It was a weird thing, but I guess it was pretty good. He's 6'6", 309. He's got 33-inch arms, which is absolutely huge for offensive tackle. I mean, just looking at his physical frame, he is an absolute beast. Some things that he's able to do well is that in high school he ran the hurdles and the relays, the 400 relay. So he is an athlete, which is very good. He could burst out of his stance and move laterally very well. He had a very good Senior Bowl as well. People were very impressed with what he did at the Senior Bowl, which is good. He's able to bend and flex his knees, being able to anchor down or be able to move a lot more laterally as well. He's able to react as well. A lot of times when you're set as an offensive lineman, you're going to be able to understand what your role is, who you're taking. But a lot of times, there's adjustments. Maybe that guy you're taking, they're doing a counter play. Maybe that guy's going to go to the right side of the line. You don't never know. He's able to adjust very quickly and figure out who he's supposed to be guarding and take him out of the play. Then we look at some things that he could work on. He's not the most experienced at the position. He definitely could use some more time because he was a tight end originally in high school. He added 75 pounds of weight ever since getting to St. John's, and that's what's kind of got him there. So even though he's in a small school, he's got the lack of experience. He's got a lot of upside as well. So basically what's going to come with that is the other weaknesses that kind of making him fundamentally sound, teaching him the position a lot better. Because he has that tight end background, he could be used in some fun sets. You could use him as a goal line guy to maybe flex out and catch a ball, stuff like that. But when you get a guy that was a tight end build, who's going to be athletic, and he added 70 pounds of good weight in college to become a solid lineman, this is a guy that you can develop, sit behind Whitworth, and have him take over when Whitworth is ready to go. Obviously, Whitworth is trying to win a Super Bowl. I don't know if that's happening anytime soon for the Rams. Their window looks like it's pretty much closed, but this is a guy that can learn and take all the information that he can from who's on that offensive line pretty much and be able to take over, especially for Whitworth, in the next few years. I think he will be solid to slide in there as soon as Whitworth is gone. Then we go over to pick 126. I'm selecting one of my favorite tight ends in this draft, probably my favorite tight end in this draft, in Hunter Bryant. Hunter Bryant is one of those receiver/tight end builds that looks to be taking the NFL by storm nowadays. 6'2", 248. He's got 32-inch arms and over 10.5-inch hands. Ran a 4.74 at the Combine, 23 reps on the bench, 32.5-inch vertical as well. What he did at Washington with his production, he had a breakout season pretty much in 2019. The past 2 seasons, he really didn't get to do much. He only played in 14 games in those past 2 seasons. But this year, he played in 12 games, caught 52 catches for 825 yards and 3 touchdowns. He averages 16.4 yards per catch in his college career and a total of 5 touchdowns as well. So a lot of upside for this guy. The tight end class is definitely not the largest statured in this class. It's probably the weakest position in the draft, in my opinion. But I think that these guys are showing a lot of potential and can do a lot more at the next level. He's got great burst on his routes. He's able to outrun linebackers. He's able to get to the high points of the ball as well. His catch radius is very good. Basically, his ball skills are just impressive for where he's scheduled to be drafted. His hands are very safe. He's not really going to be a guy that's going to drop too many balls. And he's able to track the ball as well very much. And he's got the speed as well to get around tacklers and be able to tack on as well, which is what you want in a tight end nowadays. You look at what the Giants have done with Evan Ingram. It's been a very solid pick for them, and it's shown a lot of promise. You look at George Kittle, how he's attacking defenses, even what Mark Andrews was doing, Kelsey. I mean, these are guys that are able to break tackles after the catch and get more yak, and that's something you need. Some weaknesses is that he's not really a prototypical size, so you're going to need to scheme around him, have him figure out what is going to be best for him in this offense, not the other way around. Having him adjust to the offense, it might prove to be unwise, might not be a great move for him and his career. He could have issues beating some press coverage. His smaller frame at the tight end position, if he's going up against a linebacker, if a linebacker's pressing him, he's going to get bullied a little bit, might take him out of the play. And he's got to be able to run better routes, in my opinion. Double moves, complex routes, those things, they're not stuff that he can do right away. So he definitely can learn from that. But, when you look at the Rams, they have tight ends on the roster. Some of them have shown flashes of great games, but overall you don't have a solid tight end that will be your guy. I think Hunter Bryant has a potential to be a very solid starting tight end. I think his ceiling is probably a Pro Bowl. He's that good. He has that much talent, that much potential, but you have to get him there. And that's something I think that the Rams should be focusing on, and Sean McVay can write up plans to do so for Hunter Bryant. Going on over to pick 199, their second to last pick of the draft, I'm taking L'Jarius Sneed out of Louisiana Tech. What he did at Louisiana Tech, he played for 4 years. He had 177 tackles on his career. 5.5 of them were tackles for loss. He had 8 interceptions and 19 pass deflections, as well as 3 touchdowns on his career from the defensive side. 6 foot, 192. He ran a 4.37 at the combine, 41-inch vertical as well. This is a guy who I think might even transition to safety at the next level due to how it is, especially with his measurables. He had 4 pick sixes in high school and 3 at Louisiana Tech. This is a big play guy. He's able to not only catch the ball, but be able to have that return minder ability, which, could translate to a nice special teams role as well. He has the ability to digest route combinations. He also has ball tracking abilities like a safety. He did play safety in 2019. And he's using his length as well to break up the passes and do what he can. Like I said, this is a guy I think is going to be a depth guy. Obviously not somebody you're going to figure to put in right away, but I think you start him off at corner, and if it's not going too well, maybe transition to a safety role. But you have very good secondary leaders with Jalen Ramsey and John Johnson, to where I think L'Jarius Sneed can step in and be a solid depth guy. Probably have a solid preseason, maybe impress some Rams fans. He might be a fan favorite. I think that he definitely can go out there and do some stuff to prove that it's a solid pick for this late, but things that he could work on. Obviously, he's not going to be the best at 199. This is the end of the 6th round. So he's got to be able to break down the space between him and the ball, be able to tackle better. He's got to burst a lot better. He's not able to kind of stay with the ball. A lot of times a receiver will beat him. Maybe he'll get a little handsy or grabby. That's not good. And as well, I think he has to kind of be able to break into the route as well easily. Now he's not really. He's a little stiff at sometimes. He's got to do a lot of stuff. But other than that, special teamer would be very solid depth as well. Could earn himself a spot on the roster. I think he will earn him a spot on the roster, probably as a cornerback 5, maybe even 4 if he can prove to be a very solid pick. Could be a steal in a couple years, but I think that with development in time, he could turn out to be a solid 2nd or 3rd corner on a depth chart as well. Going on over to pick 34, the last pick of the draft for the Rams, I have them selecting Rodrigo Blankenship out of Georgia. This is one of the best kickers in college football, especially the year before this last season. He missed a couple, but he's been a sure kicker. He hasn't missed an extra point at all in his college career. He's 200 for 200 on those. He's 80 for 97 on field goal attempts in his career. He played it for 4 years, which is 82.5% field goal percentage, which isn't bad, especially for college, which they have the wider playing field, so it's a little bit harder with the angles. But he's put up 440 points on his college career, which I think is very solid for him. A lot of people have him slated as the first kicker. I have somebody else that went to the Giants a little bit higher, but Rodrigo is definitely an absolute beast as well. When you look at what he has done, I think that's obviously such a great thing. You lost Greg Zuerlein. There's going to be things that you need to do. He missed 6 kicks this last year, though, which is kind of what has dropped him below a little bit. I think that the upside from I'm completely forgetting the guy's name. He was from I think it was like Southern Mississippi was the school. But the guy he had for the Giants, he had a very good Senior Bowl. I liked what he had, and I think that he would go there. But he also missed a game-tying kick in the overtime loss to South Carolina. He missed a chip shot 30-yarder against Alabama in the championship game in 2018. So clutchness is not really his factor, which when you look at what you need in the NFL, a lot of high-pressure situations for kickers, that's what you need him for. But overall, he's able to be a good kicker. That's what you want. If he doesn't work, he doesn't work. You kick him to the curb. You sign another one off the street. There's so many kickers in the world that you could pretty much sign anybody and put them out there. If they work, they work. They don't. But taking a flyer on him at 234 wouldn't be too bad for the Rams. But that's going to be it for their 7-round mock draft. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. Let me know, Rams fans, what your mock draft is. I'd love to see it in the comment section below. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe as we do a bunch of videos over here. We have a Madden series going on with the Giants Fantasy Draft franchise. If you haven't watched those videos, they've been really fun to make, very entertaining. So please go click on those, check those out, as well as the other 7-round mock drafts we've done. There should be a playlist popping up right about now as well. And of course, if you did like the video, be sure to like it. If not, refresh the page, check it out again, and let me know what you think about it the second time. Without further ado, that is going to be it for me. I'll see you guys in the next video.